Good evening, everyone. Thank you again so much for tuning in. This is the Real Deal Fam Network, and I am Andre, and this is the gorgeous wife, Essie.
How you doing?
She can't forget that.
Buzz.
All right. Thank y'all so much for tuning in, and we do appreciate all the support. If you haven't had the opportunity yet to hit that subscribe button, if you can, do it now. We would highly appreciate it.
Subscribe.
Also, give us a thumbs up and also hit that notification bell. That way you can get the videos as we produce them.
Yep.
With that being said, we're going to dive right in tonight. We got a topic tonight that's been all over the media. And it warrants that type of concern based on the hysteria that's been going about.
Yeah, I would say hysteria. Well,
yeah.
So for the U.S., it's hysteria.
Yeah, actually, it's been a little bit of hysteria worldwide. They said that the coronavirus started in China. Nobody can confirm that, but they have had, I guess, the majority of the cases so far. Being that they have an extremely large population, one could see why that would be so.
And you can't really get accurate reports out of that because, you know, they have a communist government, so they're not really truthful.
Yes, there's been mass closures, not just in China, but also in Italy and other places around the world, and starting to begin here in the United States.
Mm-hmm. Kids out of school. They say they don't know, maybe possibly months. Oh my goodness, that is too much.
Yes, that I don't know what's worse.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just glad, don't y'all get crazy.
Yeah. We love our kids.
Yeah.
But we do like them to go to school.
Yes, but we've seen some footage where China is doing some very extreme things. They shut down one city completely. Mm-hmm. And they're using some very draconian type measures. They're actually forcing people to stay inside. Some places they even welding the door shut.
Yeah, or they force their way in and test everybody's temperature in like all the apartments and housing complexes. And if they find you have a temperature, they drag you out, take you to unknown places. Sounds a little familiar, like somebody in history did that to a group of people.
Well, it's somewhere over there in Europe, but we ain't gonna get into that. But yeah, they're doing a lot of different things. They got, like my wife said, they're doing a lot of testing, a lot of different things. They've opened up. We've seen actually where they built the hospital. I don't know if it was in 1 week, but it was, I mean...
Yeah, like a couple of weeks. They literally built a new hospital and equipped it and stuff just for the coronavirus.
And packed it up, and they got the physicians are working around the clock.
Yeah, some places have cruise ships where they put you on a cruise ship and, you know, isolate you out to sea.
Yeah. But some people have been complaining that, you know, nobody was prepared for this. Things kind of got out of hand. It was kind of downplayed. Now that it's everywhere, and now it's kind of over the top. You're kind of going from one extreme to another.
But the flu kills more people than the coronavirus.
This is true. And so we can't really understand what all the hysteria is about, but people are dying. Like with any virus, it typically affects the people who are immune compromised, the elderly, young children, people who are sick already.
Not that many children have been getting it. It's mostly killing people who are susceptible and immune, like you said, but older people. So like your grandparents and so on and so forth. They shouldn't be outside doing all kind of stuff and having the young kids who, you know, they always get sick every time they go to school.
Yeah.
Come home, wiping their face, touching everybody, putting their hands in it, digging in all kind of places and just spreading it. Okay, young people, they don't wash their hands and stuff. They spread the germs. And so if they go visit grandma, grandpa, oh, hey, and then they get sick. So
yeah, if you're a parent, you know all about it. If you have school-aged children, but that goes into another thing. Being that it's out and about now, the hysteria's out. The stores are not being equipped with everything that people need. They're definitely gonna need like soap, hand sanitizer, and things like that. But it's going a little deeper than that. you got to be concerned like they did in China. They got those people locked down. I think
they didn't get any warning.
Right.
They only had like a day or two warning, maybe not even that, and then they got locked down with just like no food supplies or anything.
Right. All of the restaurants, all the shops were closed. So you got to think in terms of that. You need to have your food supply up to date. That's very important. That's more important.
And not just like a week.
Yeah, that's more important than hand sanitizer. So if you ain't got nothing to eat, you ain't gonna be washing your hands anyway.
Oh my goodness! I could be trying to eat the soap. But yeah, man, those people, and you know, the Asian culture, they like to eat the foods fresh and go to the shop, you know, every daily or every other day or whatnot. So they just keep fresh foods and different stuff in the refrigerator. Can you imagine if all of a sudden you only had 1 or 2 days supply of food cut off, locked and welded up in your house, and that's it? Oh my gosh.
Yes.
You got to pray for those people over there.
And you got to think about people who need medication and so forth. The stores begin to close, like some of your larger department stores like Walmart and so forth. They pharmacy is huge in the community. A lot of people depend on them. Walgreens, all these different little stores.
What they say, you could stock up an extra 30 days on your prescription, but you have to pay out of pocket. So if it's not your time to re-up, you can get it extra, but it's going to cost you. You could pay for it.
But that's the thing. Most people who are on medication, typically it's elderly or something like that. Medication, it's very expensive.
Yeah, you can't pay. It was so expensive.
Right. So most people are going to try to get it through their insurance. And if you only getting like a month's supply, and this thing carries on a little bit longer than that, then you can be at risk in that nature.
Yeah, I think some reports are saying up to maybe 2-3 months. So I don't know. We'll see. Here we're not. It's you know, the kids are out of school and stuff for an extra week or so, but that's it so far. But you know, we'll have to see.
I think that goes into a lot of things in terms of the community and Americans in general. Things have been pretty good for a while in terms of you knowing you're going to have some food. You know the grocery stores are going to be filled. There's going to be fuel available and things like that. We may have had some inclement weather, may have stopped that for a little while, but nothing of the sort like this. So people need to be more prepared for emergency situations like this. So you definitely need to have your food stocked up, have you some medication, definitely have cleaning utensils and cleaning equipment, all those fuel, everything. You need to be ready because things are getting a little bit more challenging, especially if you got a family.
Well, not only that, we and him used to live in Puerto Rico. He went to school there, so we, you know, our family was down there. But during that time, this is even before the major hurricane that came, they had a strike for the gasoline company. I think the labor unions and stuff had a strike on the island.
It was the truckers.
Oh, the truckers union?
Uh-huh.
You know, you think those are apocalyptic shows or whatever where everything's closed. But everybody, you need rescue trucks. So just because the truckers had a union strike, the entire island closed down. There was no food at the grocery stores because the trucks couldn't get there. There was no money in the bank because the trucks couldn't get there. There was no they shut down the clean water. I mean, everything on the island shut down. People couldn't get to work.
People they underestimate how important the logistics program is.
Yeah, everything is a step. If you need everything to be able to get there, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Literally, the entire island closed down. It was no food hardly available. No money in the bank hardly available. The planes couldn't get gas to get out of there. Literally, the whole island. They had to bring water trucks out. Food. You had to. I think the government gave special food assistance stuff to come around with food trucks and different things.
Well, the like she said, the guys. It was a union strike. So after a while, when you have a strike and it's a prolonged process, some of the people be ready to cross over because they start to feel it financially. but the other truckers held strong. And so what they was doing was blocking the highway. So even if you did cross over and wanted to go back to work, you couldn't move because they had their semis blocking all the main roads. So there was no way for any of the goods or products to get from one place to another. So all the stores were short on supplies, everything. It was very rough.
Yeah, so like a lot of my coworkers, I used to walk to work. It was, around the block, so it was great. But anybody who was driving, they couldn't get to work. They ran out of gas. And so, I mean, that you just don't even think about those things. But those things are what I'm starting to see here, especially with like a run on the grocery stores and just all kind of different stuff shutting down. You had to be on curfew. Oh, that was another thing. We had to be on curfew.
Yeah.
You couldn't be out. You couldn't even take strolls, and you was like,
Well, like I said, I think everybody take the daily life is for granted. But I think it's more important that you be prepared for situations like this as opposed to worrying about what vacation you're going on, what next outfit you're going to buy and stuff like that. This stuff is essential to life. You need it, and you need to worry about it and be more concerned with that in the long run.
Yeah, I've been seeing people's grocery hauls with they're like getting snacks and different things. Oh, it's going to last me. This going to last me about a week. You need to be getting you some giant bags of rice, beans, all kind of stuff, ramen, stuff that can last and without if the electricity turns out. You don't know what it could happen or go on. If people can't get to work, to clean your water, at the water purification place. That's the stuff that happened in Puerto Rico. They couldn't get to work to clean and purify the water and stuff, so the water wasn't good. Just all kind of things you don't even think about, like what? Yeah, so you need to be stocked up. What if the power goes out? You need to have food that doesn't spoil and enough supply of it to last a little while. I think one time we went through a hurricane on the island and the power was out like 2 months.
Yeah.
And it was like a category 1 or barely a tropical storm.
Yeah, well, what happens is that on the island, when there's a storm coming, to prevent further damage or loss of life from electric wires falling, they shut down the electrical system. And so what happened was, once the storm was over, they couldn't get it back up.
Right, because it was complicated, it was intricate, and it went all over the island. They have like an old ancient electrical system, and so they couldn't get they couldn't scab in and could get everything back how it used to be connected. So half the island, the touristy side, was back up and running and stuff. Then the other half of the island, where the locals lived at, was down in the dungeons, was 2 months without. I think we just up and moved out of our apartment and moved to the other side of the island because they still didn't have electricity. I think they went like 4 or 5 months with no lights.
Right.
When we moved, I had to get some lights around there.
But the people who always kept it basic, kept everything in perspective, it didn't affect them as much because they was used to living a certain type of way. But the people who really depend on that certain type of lifestyle and that type of thing, you was devastated. You didn't have air conditioning. It was very uncomfortable. You didn't have clean water coming out the faucet, things of that nature.
We had to literally, thank God we had our 5-gallon buckets and different stuff like that. Those big 5-gallon water buckets, we always would keep those and have water stocked up. But thank God we had it, because when the water truck came out, the giant semis of water trucks would come, and you'd have to run after the water truck, and they would stop, just like the ice cream man. Yeah. And then you have to run and line up and get your bins that you had. If you didn't have a bin, oh well, sorry, you get your little whatever you got, but you get your 5-gallon bin, they'll fill up about 2 or 3 of them, and that was, your quota or whatever. It was scary. You didn't know whenever it was going to end. So just be prepared. Don't take it like a joke.
Yeah, although it was an uncomfortable process to go through, it was an eye-opener. It humbled me in a sense, and it got me kind of prepared for situations like this.
Yeah, I've never been like that. We had been through hurricanes and different things like that, but nothing like when the total infrastructure of society shuts down. Never had been through that. I'm like, nah, this can't be possible. No, what? No water, no electric, no food at the store. be prepared, okay? Just be
Right.
cautious.
That's all you can do at times like this. Just be prepared, be prayed up. Don't take for granted when people get up in the morning. They thank God for just a nice day.
Thank you.
That a nice day ain't promised to nobody. So that's why you say thank you and you appreciate it.
Yeah, that's why your grandparents always had them a garden in the back. You know,
Yeah.
they're always out there gardening and stuff. Or like, I know our family in South Florida, they always have fruit trees, all kind. They didn't plant like regular bushes, you know, like you want your grass and stuff to be all nice, regular. No, you don't. If the plant had to have purpose, okay, the tree had to produce some kind of fruit or vegetable or whatever. Because making your yard look good wasn't, on the top priority. It had to be producing some kind of food.
But definitely, I remember my cousin came down to where we're living at now, and she said that why have all those plants in your yard to look good if they're not producing anything?
Yeah, we were like, you want your yard to look good, yard of the month.
Yeah, but you want to make sure you have something to eat.
Yeah, so you kind of get back to basics, and maybe you might want to think about starting you a garden or whatnot. We were thinking about it, so
right.
Yeah.
So during times like this, where you have a calamity, you got this so-called calamity with this coronavirus. What it does is help you to open up and become prepared the next time better. Don't take it for granted like it's a one-off. But take it like, okay, that was my wake-up call. Let me next time store up some food, have some supplies ready just in case.
Yeah. What do you say in another video? Your people are survivors.
Definitely.
They know how to hunt and eat what the land provided and stuff, so you got to get back to it.
Definitely. And if you could be the most self-sufficient, you are the better off you're going to be, you and your family. But like we say, just make sure you stay inside, do what you need to do in terms of protecting your family. Try to keep yourself clean, keep everybody hands washed and sanitized, and wipe off knobs and things of that nature. And
Call your loved ones, talk to them.
that's
Tell them
it.
you love them.
That's it. And don't be stressed out. Just thank God every day that you're living and seek Him out, and you'll be fine. And we really do appreciate y'all for tuning in tonight. And if you haven't yet, like we said in the beginning, please hit that subscribe button. We're putting out videos constantly, and we definitely love all the support we've been getting and want to continue to receive it. And if you have any comments or anything you'd like to share about an experience you may have had similar to one we did when we was in PR, we would love to hear about it. And thank y'all again so much for tuning in. Good night.
Good night.